set to go. So once again, thank you for joining the session. This is going to be a really exciting one for all of you who already know SuperOps.ai. And I also want to remind you all that we had mentioned that everyone who joins our session today will get a 1-month free subscription for SuperOps.ai. So if you are already using SuperOps.ai, please use the sales, please contact the sales. And if you are someone who is evaluating SuperOps.ai, I would suggest you grab this opportunity. With that said, let me quickly go into the speakers for the session. So we have Akhilesh and Anirudh, the product managers who are building SuperOps.ai in SuperOps, joining the stage with me today. Akhilesh is the one who is building the automation part of SuperOps.ai. Everything that you see in client management has been built by Akhilesh. He puts his heart and soul in building the solutions that would actually benefit you, in building the features that would translate to real value to everyone who uses SuperOps.ai. Hey, Akhilesh, thank you for joining.
Thank you, Hema, and thank you everybody for taking your time for this webinar. And I'm super excited to show what we have come up with new in the PSA side of things, and also take a lot of questions and feedback to really see what better impact we can create for MSPs out there. So looking forward to this.
Awesome. And we also have Anirudh. We call him Ani here at SuperOps. And he also takes his job very seriously. He enjoys talking to our customers. If there are customers here on this call today, you would already know Anirudh now. And he also takes the feedback from our customers and prospects and sales really seriously and builds out his roadmap for his module, which is the remote management and monitoring part of SuperOps.ai. So with that said, let me introduce and welcome Anirudh as well. Hey, Anirudh.
Thanks, Eva. Hi, folks. Really super excited to join the webinar here and, share some of the recent work that we've done over the last couple of months. A lot of features that we've shipped over the last couple of months that we wanted to share with you, and also take your feedback on where you guys are and how you, want to see more value come out of SuperOps.ai. So super excited for this session.
Great, Anirudh. And the other picture that you see is me, Hema Lakshmi, the voice that you're hearing. You can call me Hema. Everyone calls me Hema here. And my main job is to just talk about SuperOps as I'm doing right now. So with that said, I would like to point out that we have a Q&A session at the end of this webinar. So any questions that you have, please keep putting it in the Q&A panel of the Zoom session that you're on right now. And we'll be taking up each and every question that you have posted in the end of this webinar. So please feel free to put your questions as and when you get them. Also, you can use the chat option to chat amongst yourself, or even ask a question that you would like to get answered by the others in this session. Let's dive into the session now. So here's the agenda for the next 40 minutes of what we'll be seeing. We'll initially start with a brief intro of who we are, who SuperOps is. Most of you would already have an idea, but let me just touch upon it for the rest of you. And then we will talk about why we build the product the way we do, and what is our core mantra here at SuperOps.ai. And then Anirudh will talk about how you can manage your clients' endpoints much better. What are the ways in which you can automate things so that your time gets saved? And then Akhilesh, our superstar, will talk about automating your client billings, because we have understood that client billings, sending invoices, and actually getting paid for your work is one of the main pain points that MSPs face. So that is one thing that we definitely want to cover in this session, and Akhilesh will be doing that. And then as a bonus for everyone who have joined here, we're also exposing what's cooking here with SuperOps.ai. Meanwhile, if you want us to slow down the way we speak, we have a lot to share. So we have a tendency to be fast in the way we're saying. So if you want us to slow down, please mention that as well. Now, going into who we are SuperOps. We have a unified solution which has PSA and RMM, the professional service automation, and remote management and monitoring. Now, we know MSPs, we understand what you need. We understand that you manage clients, you manage their infrastructure, you manage the tickets that come in from them, and you run point on everything for your clients. So it's important that you do it all by yourself, but without juggling into too many tools. And that's why we wanted to build both the automation part for your services and the monitoring part of your clients' endpoints together in one single point. And that's what we've done. The PSA part covers everything from service desk, automation to product management, project management, and much more. And the RMM part covers policy management, remote monitoring, desktop management, and so much more. But it doesn't end there, right? Because it's not just these two that you do. You need to talk, your tool, you need to talk and connect with a lot of other tools out there in the market for you to have a seamless flow of the process and operations. Some of the tools that we have noticed that our customers are using are Bitdefender, Packsate, Splashtop, QuickBooks, and WebRoot. Now, these are not just the integrations that we have. These are the top integrations we have in terms of our customer usage. Now, we also have a marketplace listed where you can see all of the integrations that we provide to make your job easier. Now, what is it that makes us different, right? Why SuperOps? It's because we provide not just PSA and RMM, but we also know that project management is a crucial part of the things that you do day in and day out. And on top of that, you also need to maintain the documentation of the assets that you're managing on your client side. Now, all of these, you typically switch between 5 to 7 tools on an everyday basis just to manage your clients and just to manage their tickets. But we think you don't have to do that. You can use one single tool, which gives you a single pane of view of everything that happens with your client, be it the tickets that they're sending to you, or the assets on their side, the alerts that come from them, or the invoices, everything in one place. That's what we need to do. And that's what we have done as well. Now, this is SuperOps in a nutshell, and there's so much more. Please go to our website and have a read, or always reach out to us. We'll be able to tell more about what SuperOps is. And then there is a specific way that we do things here at SuperOps. You might have noticed it already. That way is listening to you, truly listening to you. And we need that because we want to enable you. We don't want to sell our solution to you, but we want to make you leverage our solution so that you can take your business off to great heights. That's what we want to do. And for that, the very first thing that we have narrowed down is to really get to the ground and understand what is it that MSPs actually want. What is it that our customers are actually trying to solve using the solution? And we have several ways of finding that out. And one of the main ways is we use a solution called Canny. You can go to superops.canny.io. You'll be able to see all the features that we're working on. You will also be able to raise a request, which will, of course, go into the roadmap by Ani and Akhilesh. So what you see here is the list of features that were asked by you and the others who are using our solutions. And there's also the voting that happened when we post these requests. Now, based on these, we have picked up the functionalities, and you can see we have completed them as well. Now, Anirudh and Akhilesh will be covering most of the functionalities that you're seeing here today. Now, this is one way of directly getting in touch with you to get the information that we need so that we can build the product that you will actually use and find value in. Now, the other way that we do, like all businesses, is fly around the globe and talk to the customers, talk to MSPs, and also have fun while we're doing it. So that's what we did. We have collected some more information, talking to a lot of people. We've also hosted Super Summit in London, bringing all MSPs together and talking to them, trying to solve the problems that they're trying to solve. And we do that and then come back and then start building our solution. But we also have some fun in the office while we do. We have lunch together, we have snacks together, we play. So it's really a group of people trying to build the solution that will help you. With that said, I would like to call upon Anirudh, who will be talking about the client's endpoint management using SuperOps.ai. Anirudh, go for it.
Thanks, Hema. So from the RMM modules perspective, right, this quarter has been a very busy quarter for us in terms of the features that we had planned to shape, and you would have seen all of these features come out in a periodic basis over the last quarter. And few of the key features, these were also on the top asks within the canny list that we had, been tracking. So a few of the features that I will talk about today here from the RMM perspective. First is the software management piece, where we cover the software installation, the third-party patch management of those softwares, and then the uninstallation as well. So we've bundled 3 features into one overall software management feature. That is the biggest ask in Canny, and that is being rolled out in a couple of days' time into our product, and we could get a sneak peek of that particular feature here in the webinar. The second feature that we will be looking into is the terminal or the command line interface that was released a month back, and we've already got a lot of feedback from our customers who have got immense value from this terminal tool. Another remote backgrounding tool closely linked to terminal is the registry editor. And that is something that we had released just last week that you would be able to check out in the product. And the next one that is on the verge of being rolled out is the remote file explorer. So software management is the first, followed by the 3 remoting features, remote backgrounding features. And then we also have released the community script library, where we have enabled the community to share the respective scripts and for the rest of us to gain value from the community, right? So that is another key release that we have done from our RMM side, for which there has been an immense positive response from our customer base. So these are the features that we'll be looking into. And typically, I would like to just take you through a particular journey of how these 3 or 4 features gel together to help you get value from SuperOps, right? So we would first see that, we would try to set up a software schedule, a list of softwares that we will try to install on a set of machines, endpoints. Then we would see that if in case a troubleshooting need arises, how we would be using the multiple backgrounding tools at our disposal to troubleshoot and fix the issue. And then we would also, look into the script library that is available for us to leverage. So the journey here is, say, in the morning, the MSP starts, and the first thing that we do is the setup of the software management module, right? So within a product, what we have created here is a concept called a software bundle. Now, this has been brought about in our product to help you folks group a lot of similar softwares basis any category or classification that you see fit together. So when you are able to, say, group those softwares, it reduces a lot of your effort in choosing that group and applying it to a particular client or a group of assets, rather than adding the same software in all the clients in all the places. So we have given this software bundle concept within the product, where you could just add softwares to your bundle as you see fit. So here I'm trying to, add Skype as a software. So we have actually utilized the Chocolaties's community platform to get all our softwares. We have an internal repository through which we repackage and give it back to you within the product. So if you can see here, I've created a bundle. I've added all the softwares I want within the bundle. And once I have finished putting the bundle together, I would go to my policy management page within asset management. I would choose the asset group for which I want to apply this bundle to. I would then move on to the software management piece here. And if you can see that the bundles that I've created come here, and I can add that bundle. Apart from that, from the list of, say, 3,000, 4,000 software applications that are there on Chocolaty, we provide that also, which you can maybe add on an ad hoc basis. So apart from the bundle, we provide the flexibility to add additional softwares on an ad hoc basis. So once we add the bundles, you can see that, right? So these are the softwares that are part of the default application bundle, which you can tinker around with. Then this is the bundle that I have added, and this is the software that I added just ad hoc right now. And once I add the softwares, now I will have to move on to schedule So I have the flexibility of doing it every day, every week, every month. Every week on a Wednesday is a good enough schedule for me. I can pick a starting date, I can choose a time, and I can also end after, say, I can do 10 times, or I can do it for a particular end date, or I can give it as never, which will be a recurring task which never ends. And I also have the option of giving the reboot configuration here. Most of the software updates out there won't require a reboot, but we have noticed that there are a few softwares, few applications that might require a system reboot. And if in case one such software comes about, how do we handle that, right? So the reboot options is there. I can repeatedly ask for the permission. If the user is logged in, the time interval can be, say, every 30 minutes, repeat it for 3 times. So this could be a particular reboot configuration that I give. Now I'm just doing a recheck. I have the software list here, schedule here, and then the reboot configuration all set, and I can save it. Now, for those of you who have used the product or who have trialed it, you would see that the above configuration is a key ask here, the client site and asset here. So I have applied this globally for all Windows workstations, but if in case I want to, I can even go choose a particular client, or I can choose a particular site of a client, or even go to an asset, individual asset level, and apply a particular software policy. So this is where it runs. And as soon as, this schedule runs, you will see that if I want to, say, look up to a particular asset and see what are the types of softwares that have been, applied there, I could go to the apps here. I could then go to the managed software, and these are all the softwares that I have applied for this particular asset. So that list comes here, and the status of the particular installation is shown here. So this is where you can check the softwares that are being managed through SuperOps for this asset. And if I just want to double check on the policy that I applied, I could just go to the policies tab of that asset, and I can see that what are all the softwares that are available here. And if I want to make any modifications at an asset level, I have the flexibility to do that here also. So this is about the software management piece of it. And if you folks have any questions about this, you can ping it here, and we'll pick that up shortly afterwards once we are done with the demo, right? So this was all about the software management piece of it, where we looked at how do we install, how we take care of the patching, as well as the uninstallation. So for every software that you see, the configuration is install and update, as well as uninstall. So you can tinker around with the software and the configuration that you want to for that particular asset, and you can save it. So any software that was being used by a particular client, and now you want to blacklist it or take it out of the list, you can just press the uninstall here, and you could be done with it. So that was about software management. Now, we wish to move to the remote monitoring backgrounding tools here, right? So the 3 key releases that we saw recently from our RMM module was the registry editor, the remote file explorer, and the terminal. So I would just take you through all 3 of them quickly, so that you could have a look at how they are adding value to a particular asset here. So within the asset and within the apps, you will see that the registry editor is here, the remote file explorer is here. So let's pick up the remote file explorer for first, right? So I remote into the tool, I press the file explorer, and I see that the C and D drives are shown here. I could just choose to navigate quickly through them. I have the option to actually upload. I can create new folders. I can rename a lot of folders. Right? I can even download the files here. So let me then pick a sample of, say, I'm uploading a dummy a file here. Just I would see that this particular file is getting uploaded. And once the upload is done, it will throw me a success message through which I would be able to see that the particular file has been uploaded, And now I would use, say, the terminal to actually run that particular file on this asset. And yeah, that particular bat file has run and given the output that I wanted to see. And I could then just use the registry editor to actually see if the run file has actually given me the required output, right? So here within the registry editor, you see all the 5 key hives here. I can just navigate the hives pretty easily. I'll just go to that particular value or subkey where this particular change has been made. And I would see that, so the particular change that we were making was trying to write a key and a password to the Splashtop remote server, right? So I can see that the password has been written and the session ID has also been updated. So this is a clean-cut example of how an MSP can leverage all the remote tools, features that we provide within the RMM module to manage a desktop end-to-end, right? So these were the 3 key remoting tools that we had looked into. And the other key feature release that we had recently was the community scripts, right? So it's out there. You would see a new tag right next to it. And once you go within that, you will see that all these are all the scripts that I have created for my use. And if I go to the community, I will see all those scripts that have been uploaded by other SuperOps users. So this particular script, right? So just in case there's a test script, I can just look at the test script. I can see that a lot of imports have happened, and I can even, import it to my particular instance and start using it. So all of this has been provided within the community library for scripts, right? So pretty exciting quarter for us, and this has really helped us come a long way in terms of adding value to the RMM module within SuperOps, right? So any questions you have within for RMM, feel free to share them on the chat message here, and we will, get around to answering that post the session.
Thank you, Anirudh. That was quite detailed and quite explanatory. And I really think that it would help most of our listeners, because client management and the endpoint management is something that most of our customers have trouble with. And it's one of the things that our MSPs sell as their service, and their clients look forward for the MSPs to take care of it. With that said, here is a quick pause where I would like to share a question with all of you. This is purely in an effort to understand what is it that you need, right? So that we will be able to take this back and we'll be able to work on it so that we can build the product accordingly. Please take a couple of seconds to answer this question. What is your biggest pet peeve in endpoint management of your clients? Is it third-party management, or is it remote troubleshooting, or is it OS patch management? We can clearly see a winner coming up. However, we'll pause for another few seconds so that we'll get all of your responses. We understand that all of these are really critical, right, Anirudh?
Correct. So depending on what phase the MSP is in, right, and what is the type of clients that they're handling, right? So these features will add more value. Say, for example, third-party patch management would add more value for someone who's handling a lot of software, different software for their client, but OS patch management would be critical for someone who's handling a variety of assets when it comes to OSs. So yeah, all of this is critical. And for an MSP, all of these are, bread and butter features that they would want to work with.
Yes, looks like the responses match what you said, Anirudh. So the third-party management and OS patch management looks like the top 2 pet peeves that most of our audiences have. That is an insight for you right there, Ani.
Correct.
Okay, thank you for your response. Now, let's go to the next part of the session, which is also super interesting, which will be hosted by Akhilesh. Akhilesh, over to you.
Perfect. Thanks, Hema. Thanks, Annie. And hello, all. Just continuing with what Annie was showing with respect to the enhancements in RMM, I would like to share my screen. And I think I'm unable to share my screen yet. Hema, I guess you would need to give me the access.
Yes.
But while she's at it, what I wanted to tell is, as we have made the RMM very powerful so that every day your job is getting easier, while you are at it, of course, you are doing this to make some money. And also, we wanted to make sure you billing your clients and getting them, let's say, getting these invoices paid on time and automating the whole process is a cakewalk inside SuperOps.ai. And if I had to be very honest, of course, yes, we took some time to make this module complete, but now why we took a very slow approach is mainly because we wanted to make sure we get a lot of inputs, and with respect to client billing, contracts, billing agreements, and invoicing, there were multiple ways of how an MSPs were solving how they would like to bill their clients. And we had to hear all of them out and come up with a framework on what could be the easiest and intuitive way. But now with all the latest features and the revamps that we have done, I would like to say that now billing your clients on time and getting paid on time is going to be completely automated and also be super easy in SuperOps.ai. So going with that, quickly showing you, let's say you are this cool MSP with a great smile because you are getting all the money on time. So showing you how we can do that in SuperOps.ai is the first part is, of course, populating the list of services or your service catalog. And for people who are already using SuperOps, of course, you would know where it is and what we do there. Of course, we have a service catalog page where you can go ahead and add your own service items that you offer, which are categorized into various properties. Either if it's a product, ideally your inventory and non-inventory items go here. Any work log hours, that is, let's say your labor, troubleshooting, on-site hours, anything hours that you want to log and track, then you would create it as a work log hour item and use it as part of your, let's say, work logs in a ticket or so. And some retainers, let's say if you want to charge your clients a standard retainer fee and get them deducted against standard hours or standard money, then you could choose one of these items, which is block hours or block money, and clearly say against which items are they kind of adjusted, right? So you would be able to create these types of services that you would offer as an MSP. But the ideal best practice way is to not manually create all of them, but the easiest way would be is most likely you would be having your bookkeeping tool, which like a QuickBooks or a Xero. So we have integrated with both of them, where you can clearly see that once you go ahead and integrate a QuickBooks or Xero, we will automatically pull in all your list of offerings, which is including your inventory, non-inventory items, or whatever you have been billing your clients on. All these items will be pulled in. And also you would be able to create your clients and map them in SuperOps.ai with this one integration itself. So one of the best practices to go here is go ahead and integrate your invoice and billing tool first. This will automatically fetch your service catalog, or also your clients, and everything will be mapped. So down the line, when you go through all the process that I'm going to tell you, the end result is you will start here and end once an invoice is generated, you get paid, etc. You will sync back to your billing tool. So I'm going to show you the whole journey as such, but this is an ideal way to start with by bringing your clients and your service items. Now, once that is done, of course, you will have your client in place in SuperOps.ai, and you can start billing. Let's say you can start adding your billing agreements. Now, what do I mean by that is you can have a contract specified, and based on the items that you have, you can say how you have how are you providing them. For example, if they are going to be part of standard subscription, then I can go ahead and say, let's say, for example, I'm going to add a standard block money, which is going to be the retainer fee, and also maybe some external hard drives or Microsoft nonprofit business is the license that I'll be providing, and a standard fixed fee of external hard disk that I want to charge once, etc. So anything that you want to charge on a recurring subscription basis, you can choose to quickly add them. And while you add them, of course, you have a certain list of, let's say, properties that you can mention to make sure that the billing is completely automated when it's going to be recurring in terms of subscription. And we have made a lot of announcements here to make your life easy. For example, let's say that I'm starting a subscription for Microsoft Non-Business Pro for this particular customer, and I want to manually maintain this subscription with the customer. This is an example, but this could mean this could apply to a fixed fee or anything that's recurring, right? So this is an example that I'm giving you. I can specify the quantity. If it's all users or all assets, then we'll automatically fetch it. But if it's going to be custom, I can provide what that is. And if it's monthly, annual, I can say that. And I can even say, hey, generally my billing cycle is from the first of every month. Even though I'm adding these licenses on 22nd, I don't want that to disturb my billing cycle. So I can say, hey, my billing start date is always on the first and the cycle is always on the first. So what will SuperOps understand from this is on every first, it's going to charge on a monthly basis for this a particular item. So that's what the billing start date tells. But however, I know you would have to get the money upfront to make sure that there is a difference calculated for the number of days that's left until the first. So I can even mention what's the quantity, let's say 10, and I can say it's effective right from today. Now, the best part is SuperOps automatically calculates the prorated amount, and I can choose to either immediately create an invoice and send it over to the customer, or I can even just hit save. And in the interest of time, I'm just removing the other items, but pretty much everything is going to be the same workflow. And once I hit save, what happens is now SuperOps knows that on first of every month, I have to bill for this particular item. But however, there is a prorated charge for the next upcoming 8 days that is already added to your billing queue. So that's how easy subscriptions is in SuperOps.ai. And down the line, now let's say you have to modify these subscriptions, don't worry at all. Just go into the subscription and just say modify quantity. And you can say, are you increasing the quantity or decreasing the quantity? If you're decreasing it, it's going to be effective from the next cycle onwards. If you're increasing it, I can say by how much. Let's say I can just say by 3, so that the count has to increase into 3. And I can say from when it has to take place. And if there is a prorated charge, SuperOps will automatically calculate either again, same, you can generate an invoice or push it to the billing queue, etc. Now we have made by that managing subscriptions super straightforward and easy and completely automated. And moving on, of course, as part of your billing agreement, you can also define saying for all the work log items, how you have to bill them. Let's say in general, your on-site hours charges is $150, but for this particular client, you agreed on to give it a 5% discount, etc. You can mention all those conditions. And let's say you have a particular technician who's an expert and their time is very precious. You're paying them a lot. You can even have conditional pricing saying whenever a particular technician logs in a labor hour, charge them at a different rate, right? So all this can be done. So in short, this is the page where you define an agreement saying that how am I going to charge this client? If I log work, how it should be calculated? If I'm not logging work, if it's subscription or recurring, how it should be calculated. So this is where you define all of this in SuperOps. And once this is done, you can leave the grunt work to SuperOps.ai. Now what happens is now any work that I log, it will go through an audit process as well. So all your technicians can keep logging work. Let's say I have to quickly say for this particular ticket, I log some work saying that I provided remote support for, let's say, 5 hours, or let's say that seems unrealistic. Maybe I'll just use 1 hour and say I went on a call and fixed this problem, etc. And as and when I log this work for every client, it keeps adding to that particular client's audit queue. So as you can see, once I go into that particular client's audit queue, you will see all these logs of work that you are doing coming here, and you can quickly review them, maybe make changes if you would like. This step is there just to make sure that we are going ahead and ensuring that before you bill your client, you are sure of what you're billing. If you want to make some final changes, you can go ahead and do that, because all these entries are manually added by technicians, and you want to make sure that that's taken care of. So the moment you say you have approved it, everything piles up in your billing queue. What do I mean by billing queue is this is a queue where it keeps piling up. Let's say as and when you add your work logs and approve it, it's going to come into this queue. Your subscriptions on that particular dates, it's going to be keep adding it to the queue. Now you can see that if you remember for the item we added, there was a prorated charge that is also added into the queue because I didn't generate an immediate invoice. So anything recurring subscriptions or anything that you are approving, everything will be automatically added to the queue. And before, let's say you have an invoice schedule in place saying that first of every month you have to generate an invoice, what SuperOps basically does is goes to the billing queue, identifies what and all items is there, and just on the fly generate an invoice automatically. And the best part, you can even set up some integration with Stripe and have customers card on file. So when the invoice is generated, your customers can be even auto charged for the invoice. So the end-to-end process can be completely automated with SuperOps.ai. Right, so that is how you can bring in your items first. Just to recap, you can bring in your items first, then you can create your billing agreements, which is subscriptions and how you are going to log work for them, how you're going to charge them, etc. And after that, you audit them. And this is where your billing queue is showing you what is going to be invoiced. And finally, you would be able to create an invoice and send it to your customer. You can automate even sending these to your customers, etc. Now, this complete flow is what we rolled out in the recent times, where we made a lot of small enhancements based on all of your inputs that came across multiple calls, Canny, etc. But also we realized after the invoice is generated, the world is not pretty straightforward. You will have negotiations with your clients. They might have not expected a particular charge at all. They would want you to defer an item. They would want you to give some discounts, and all of this happens. And this is not predictable, and we understand that. That is why the moment, let's say you go ahead and, for example, in the same example, let's say I go to the billing queue and even I can generate a client, or moment invoice is generated automatically. As you can see, it will be in a draft state, and I can look into the invoice and make sure that everything looks fine. I can even edit the invoice, maybe add some discounts, because I'm pretty sure the client is going to not going to be okay with this. So maybe add a 20% discount, maybe add some final discounts, additional discount percentages. And if you want to modify taxes, because some clients might say that some items are not taxable for them because they have some exempts. So if you want to modify all that, you can choose to do that as well, and hit regenerate invoice, and maybe change some pricing or add descriptions, what exactly you want to tell your customers. All of this is auto-populated, but any final changes you would like to make as well, you could choose to do that. And I'll also come to another use case on when this will be very useful for you. But this is a case where ideally when an invoice is generated and your customer is saying that, no, I want to make some changes, you can quickly go ahead and edit the invoice. And as you can see, the changes would reflect, and I can choose to send the invoice later saying, hey, I have sent the invoice, the edited invoice. Now, the best part is the moment you send them the invoice, the email that was sent is brought in as a chat window right here itself. So they can reply to it saying, nah, this doesn't work for me, make some changes, etc. You can have to and fro conversations with your client right here in this inbox itself. Keep making the edits, keep regenerating the invoice, and send it to your client until they are happy. And finally, when you're ready, saying that they are ready to pay, you can give them the option to pay with Stripe or push it to your bookkeeping tool so that you can go ahead and get that payment, etc. So we have made that flexible option completely. And when it comes to invoicing, there was other use cases as well where it's not about completely automating it, but you might want to generate invoices on the fly. So that also is taken care of now. As you can see in SuperOps, you can just quickly create an invoice from scratch. I can say for which client I would like to create an invoice for, and which site, if I want to particularly send it for a particular site at a site-wise billing. And from the service catalog, I can go ahead and choose saying what and all I have to invoice for the customer. And I can even see across categories what I have to add. And also the best part is if there are any items that's waiting in the billing queue, that will also be shown. So if you want to just invoice those things as well, and you don't want to wait until the schedule, you can choose to even add all of them. And while you select across the screens, you can just see what and all you have selected, hit done, and it's going to immediately create a blank invoice for you. You can go ahead and mention these, let's say, quantities that you would like, how you would want to send these invoices, all of that. You get the drill. It's very similar to how you edit it, sample descriptions, etc. And that's about it. You give all this information, build your invoice the way you want it. It's a free plain canvas. And then you can either save it as a draft so that you can send it later, or just immediately save and send it to your client. And as you know, the moment you send an invoice, of course, you will see the chat window pop up as well. They will have received the invoice. You can have conversations about that, again, edit it, and the same drill goes to and fro, right? So we have made this part completely flexible so that whatever changes, a business decision that you have to make based on your client conversation, you can make it on the fly. And once everything is done, what we have covered you is the integration with either QuickBooks or Xero. So once an invoice is there, you can even say you have done all the negotiations, the invoice is finalized. The best practice is until you finalize the invoice with your client, you don't need to push it to your billing tool. Generally, if you will not have these scenarios, it's a recurring charge, automatic charges. You don't need to do this manually. We will automate it for you. You can even say automatically push to QuickBooks or Xero. But all these processes will be there in general with your clients. Ideally, I would suggest not to use this option, but go through all these experiences, have flexibility in your play, make these changes. And once you have done all these changes, then you can push it to QuickBooks. And what we have also done is, let's say while pushing, if you face some error, we will also show saying what is the error so that you can immediately fix it on your own and repush it. So everything is become DIY, straightforward and automated in SuperOps.ai, from having your contracts, items, creating an invoice, and syncing with your bookkeeping tool so that your taxes are reconciled without any issues, right? So that's exactly what we have rolled out. So we believe now any MSP who would like to log work, raise invoices, sync it with your bookkeeping tool should be sorted and also do it with ease compared to how they are doing today. And that's what I wanted to share. If you have any other questions, of course, I'm waiting for any questions on the Q&A on how you want to do. If you have any particular cases, like how you will invoice your customers, contracts, etc., then post it on the Q&A or chat, and I would love to answer them as well. So that's what I wanted to show you with respect to the invoicing part. And having said that, now I guess on the same lines, we have another poll coming right up. Hema, would you send that? Because this will really help us understand what is currently the challenges that you're facing, how you perceive what we are rolling out, so that down the line, when we have to make enhancements and prioritize our roadmap and make the product better, we will get an idea of what can create the maximum impact for MSPs. So I'm just seeing these responses on the go, and looks like we have an equal winner here, and for now, but let's wait for all the responses to come in though.
Akhilesh, that was quite an interesting demo. I remember sitting with you in one of our conference room and listening to your demo, but you're giving special preference to our audience today. This demo is much better.
Always in front of MSPs. Always you need your A game.
Nice. Okay, I think we have had a good response. Let me also share the results. There you go. Aki, do you want to comment on the results? We have 56%, which is a clear winner, adding subscriptions into the invoice.
Perfect. And that's great. And that's exactly what we have enhanced: subscription management in SuperOps.ai. And on that note, what I was actually waiting for as well is my hunch was also saying that most of the winner would be adding subscriptions into the invoice, and that's why I waited, showing you the subscriptions module, what we have built, etc. Now the cherry on cake for all the people who answered saying adding subscription to the invoice is the challenge here, is our integration with Packsite. And I'm sorry about the slides changing. Every mouse click, Google is being super responsive and intuitive. So that's why that's happening. I'm sorry about that. But I just wanted to quickly show you that we have rolled out our Packsite integration as well. Now, if you're managing your subscriptions in Packsite, don't worry. You just saw how you can manage subscription in SuperOps.ai. We have just automated that for you. You can bind your clients in Packsite and SuperOps. You can map your subscriptions, that is what is there in Packsite and what is there in SuperOps, and just map it. And once you do that, we will auto bring your subscriptions automatically into SuperOps.ai and say that these are all coming from Packsite for your clients, and we'll automatically build them. The flow is pretty similar of what I showed, but just that we have saved you that grunt work of bringing these subscriptions, manually changing these quantities, etc. You just have to maintain your provisioning in Packsite, and we will get all these right into SuperOps completely automated. So that's another cherry on the cake that we wanted to give you for all of you who said managing subscriptions is a challenge. So either doing it in SuperOps has become easier, but if you're using FactSight, we have got you covered there as well.
Perfect. That's awesome. So yes, I think Aki, I can start sharing now. Is that okay with you?
Yep, sure.
Okay, so here we are. And this is the bonus functionality that I was talking about in the initial part of the session, which is our mobile app. So if you remember, guys, I shared the canny.io screenshot with all of you. And in that, mobile app is one of the topmost requests that we are getting from our customers and our prospects. Even the feedback that we get from our sales team is that most of our prospects, most of the MSPs with whom we are conversing with on a day in, day out basis are saying that they need a mobile app to stay in touch with what's happening with their clients. And that is what we're building right now. That's being cooked real hot right now. We have one of our other product managers, Sanjeev, who will be having a session very soon to give you a detailed explanation on the mobile app that we're going to have. So here is a quick look on what you can see or how our mobile app is going to look. Now, we also know that the ease of use, the look and feel of our solution are two primary cherries that we have in our product. And we have kept that intact in our mobile app as well. And we also have functionalities like logging a new ticket or replying to a ticket, or even clicking and calling a requester directly from that particular ticket or an asset. All of these are available in the mobile app as well. So if you're someone who wants a mobile app for your PSA RMM solution, then SuperOps has it covered. It's just that it's going to take a little bit of more time for it to come out. That's because we wanted to have all of the solutions that you want for in the mobile app. Now, with that said, we have a final question where this is not a question per se, but this is a place where we would like to take your inputs and build our roadmap. Let me launch another poll for you. Where we have listed the functionalities that we think we could take up next so that we can build the solution or build the functionality that you're looking for. So we have 3 in our priority list, which is Mac OS patch management, custom branding of MSI or agent, and having the ability to chat through the system tray icon. Now, out of these, what are all the functionalities that you think, or what is the topmost functionality that you would prefer to have in SuperOps right away? That will give us a fair understanding of what to prioritize and where to put our time and resources in. Perfect. Looks like we have a winner.
Yeah, that's an overwhelming winner for the Mac OS patch management, right? So
let's share the results. Yeah.
Great. So that's a very clear signal from our audience here to us as to what we should look at next. Yeah, great.
Awesome, Ani. I guess this makes you really happy.
Yeah.
All right. So that said, let's open the floor for the questions. We already have a few questions here in the panel. Let's take them one by one.
Sure. I think we have a couple of questions from Guido here. Guido, thanks for the questions here, and since this is the first time I think we're interacting here on this webinar, I would also like to thank you for sharing a lot of scripts on the community library, right? That has brought a lot of momentum into the feature, and a lot of our other customers have also imported it and started using those scripts, right? So thanks, Guido, for that. So the first question that Guido has is around the files for the scripting module, right? So yes, the roadmap surely has that only those files or attachment that is related to the particular script to be stored. That, yes, Guido, so that is something that we are planning for, and that will be picked up shortly. We're looking at a few other enhancements within the scripting module to give it a bit more flexibility for you as users, as well as take us along that maturity curve as a module. So those things you will be seeing very soon in the next couple of months being rolled out within the scripting module of RMM, right? So that is Guido's first question. And the second question from Guido, right? Bundle software installed parallel or in serial, reboots in between possible. So Guido here is asking about how the reboots would happen and how the softwares would be installed. Is it one after the other or is it in parallel, right? So Guido, these deployments would happen serial, one after the other, and the reboots will depend on the configuration that we choose while setting up the policy, right? So as we saw during the particular demo here, depending on if I'm still sharing my screen.
Yes, you are.
So I'm just trying to navigate to that particular. So depending on the reboot configuration that we set up here, so is it going to force the reboot immediately or reboot and allow the user to save their work? So for example, if we choose the repeatedly ask for permission, say every 30 minutes for say 5 times, within this 30 into 5, 2.5 hours, all of the updates would have been completed for the applications, and the reboots would be, run at one go. But if in case the user chooses to allow the reboot on the first attempt itself, then the patching will continue, or from wherever it was left off, it will start doing the second application's patching. So all of this happens in parallel, and depending on the reboot configuration, it would happen one after the other, or it would be collated and snoozed towards the end, where one reboot will happen for all the patches put together. So that was Guido's second question. Yeah, the third one is again a reference to that. I think Guido's also responded. Thanks, Guido. Yeah.
Awesome. Looks like we have covered. There are also other questions, Akhilesh, that you have responded in the chat, but do you want to share screen and show them?
I think one of the questions there that I answered about is filtering invoices by customer with sorting, etc. I just told it's on the way because that's a great ask, Guido, and you are reading our minds. And this is already done. If I have to be honest, it's currently in testing, and you will see this in your account this week. So you'll be able to filter invoices by its status, by customer, and also sort based on anything that you would like, so that you can narrow down to what you would need anytime. So that's on the way. And that's one of the things that I had answered, and we should be good there. And Eric Sheldon also asked about recording, which I'm sure, Hema, you would have it covered, where we are setting the recording, because it looks like Eric missed the first part of it. So we will cover you there, Eric. No worries.
Sure thing. Thanks for the answers, Akhilesh and Anirudh. And also thank you for hosting this session and taking us through the solution. It was very helpful for me to understand these features and functionalities. I'm sure it was very helpful for everyone in the audience today. With that, a big thank you for everyone here. And yes, as Akhilesh mentioned, we will be sending the recording of this session and presentation to all of you. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.